Hi, my name is Shayla Avery, and I'm going to tell you how you can get your real estate license in 3 weeks. So let's get straight to the video. I do want to start by saying that this may not work for everyone. I live in the state of Texas. I live in like Frisco, Dallas area to be specific. And this is what worked for me. It may not work for you, but I really hope it does, because if it does, you're golden. So I really wanted to get my real estate license, but everybody that I know that got it did it within like 6, 12, 24 months. And so I was like, see, that's not how I work. I'm gonna need to speed this process up, because if I don't get it soon, my mind is gonna go somewhere else. I'm gonna end up doing something else and it just won't happen. So I was like, how can I do this as fast as possible? The first thing, I have 6 things that I'm gonna tell you, but the first thing that I did was sign up for online classes. I don't think you would be able to do this if you did it in person, so definitely go the online route. You can go at your own pace. There is a limit to how much you can do in a certain amount of time, but that didn't really stop me. So that would be my first tip. Definitely go on Groupon, because I got a Groupon for about $230, I believe. And I took the course through Aceable Agent. It was great. It was modern. There were videos included and readings and like kind of like, oh, what if this happened and what if that happened? And so it kept it pretty interesting. I will say with online classes, it made it fairly easy to speed up the pace, because what I did, there are 6 courses that you have to take, okay? And through Aceable Agent, there are certain levels. I think there's probably an average of like 13 to 15 levels. And so what I did is each level, I just click, and then I would take the quiz at the end. If you don't pass the quiz, that's okay. You just go to the beginning, start over, and take the quiz again. The questions are the same, so it makes it even easier the second time. So that's what I did. Now, doing the online portion took me about 2.5 weeks to do. The other week and a half, week and a half, was doing fingerprint, application, taking the test, all of that. I did that within about a week and a half. So if you can get through that part, you're golden. That's the hardest part, I'm telling you. That's all I can say. I do think that it may be a little bit harder for someone that isn't used to taking a test. I know you guys don't know much about me, but I just graduated college, so I was used to cramming and studying and taking tests, so it was very easy for me to take the final exam. I did have to study because I had just clicked through the lessons or the courses, so I didn't really I retained a good amount of information, but everything, there were a lot of small parts that I didn't know, so I had to go back and reread and study for that. So that would be my first tip. My second tip, I know this is gonna be hard for some people, but stop working, or at least stop working full time. There's no way you can do it this fast if you work 9 to 5 and you do this for 4 hours after your shift. It's just not gonna happen. So I actually was not working during this time, and when I first started, I was nannying, but I was doing it from like 8 to 2. So I had a good amount of time afterwards. But if you want to get this done and you want to like fast track it, you're gonna have to cut back on some hours or live off of one salary if you're married, and just take that risk. That's what I did. I am married, so it definitely did help. I wouldn't have been able to do it if I didn't have another source of income, and I understand that's not an option for everybody. So, but if you do have that option, if you can move in with your parents, if you can move in to a cheaper apartment, if you can make it work, do it, because it's worth it. So that would be my second tip. And with that, I did study daily for, I would study for maybe like 8 hours in a day. Not really study, but just go through the content like 8 hours in a day. It is a lot of content, but I'm not gonna make it seem like it was all easy. I almost lost it a couple of times. So the third thing is complete a course at least every 2 days. My goal was to do it in 1 day, and if I didn't finish a course in one day, then I would leave like maybe 3 chapters for the next morning and finish it very quickly, then start on the next one. But yeah, I try to do a course every single day. Now with that, with Aceable Agent at least, you have to wait 2 or 3 days until you take the exam. So when you start a course, let's say you start the Real Estate 1 course, you have to wait 2 days from that date to take your final exam. Now I would say take the final as soon as possible so that your brain still remembers that stuff. And as soon as you're available, you're able to take the test, take it that same day. So that's what I did. So I would finish a course in 1 day, then I would have to wait 2 days, and on that 3rd day, take the test. That 2nd day, the course I started, 2 days, then I take that test. Like, so that's kind of how I did it. I broke it up so where I wasn't studying and doing like the courses every single day, or like 8 hours a day. I would do half a day where I was studying, half a day where I took the exam, then I stopped. And that's another thing. Once you finish the course for the day, don't think about anything real estate related. Don't think about anything. Like literally sit back, watch Netflix, play with your dog. I don't know. Don't think about it, because you will go crazy if you spend more than that. You might even go crazy with 8 hours like I did. But even more than that, it's your death sentence, okay? That's the 3rd thing. The 4th thing is get fingerprinted before you apply. So this might have been a miracle for me, but I actually did get fingerprinted before I even finished the application. So on the TREC website, this is for Texas, on the TREC website, I did go ahead and like do my information, like put in my name, my social security number, all of that, but I hadn't paid yet because it's $250 and I didn't have it at the time. So I hadn't paid for it, but I was like, the fingerprinting appointments are the hardest to get. Now I will say you do have to wait to get fingerprinted until after you finished your courses. So that did take a minute. I had to wait, I had to go pretty far. I live in Frisco and I had to go to Fort Worth, like Saginaw. The 5th thing that I would say is already have a sponsor when you finish your exam. So I am with Keller Williams, and I'm with an office that is in the Richardson area. So I had already known a lady who worked for Keller Williams. She sold my parents their house here in Plano back in 2012, 2013. And so we kept in touch with her, and she's been kind of like my sponsor. And well, she is my sponsor. And I get a lot of information from her. And so I joined the brokerage that she was at. And they had already, like before I took the exam, I had already met with the the sales manager, and she loved me. She said, you know, whenever you're ready, sign the paperwork, we're good. So I had already signed paperwork to be at that brokerage before I passed the exam, and all I had to do was say, hey, I passed it, I'm good to go. And they're like, cool, let's start getting you selling homes. That was amazing, because if you don't have that, then your license goes inactive, which means that you just don't have a place of work right now. And so it may take longer if you have to find a brokerage, and then you go to TREC, and then you're like, oh wait, no, I do have a place to work. And then they're like, oh, well now it's gonna take longer. So just go ahead and go research where you wanna work in your area before you take your test. The last thing that I would advise you to do is pass the exam the first time. And I can do another video on how I did that, because since I did do it in such a short amount of time, it was a lot of cramming. I had to cram 6 courses. It's literally like 6 college courses. I took it in 3 weeks, okay? So my brain was on overload, but I also think that helps, because if I took the courses 1 year and then I took the exam the next year, do you think I would remember that stuff? No. So what I did is, well, actually, I won't tell you what I did. I'll make another video for that, because it would be kind of long. But you do need to pass it the first time. You do need to study. It is not an easy exam, but it's also not the hardest exam that I've ever taken. I think that since there's so many ways that you can study, you can pay for practice tests, you can pay for like a tutor, you can do a lot of stuff. I didn't do any of that. I looked up free YouTube videos on how to pass the real estate exam, watched those. I went back over my notes. I went back to Aceable Agent. and did not pay for their practice exam. But if you absolutely need it, do it. I didn't. I chose not to because I was trying to save as much money as possible. But if you pass that exam the first time, I don't know what I passed with. It just prints out a paper and it says pass. You do have to take the national and the state exam, but they're all in the same sitting. But yeah, I passed it the first time, and honestly, I thought it was a miracle. I will tell you the story about how I passed it and what happened later. It was insane, but I will tell you in another video about that. But yeah, that's my advice for how to get your real estate license in 3 weeks. I hope that helped. Also, this is my first video, so if you want to see more content like this, press the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it.